One of the hardest truths to accept after a toxic relationship is this: the version of them you hoped for, waited for, and tried to fix may never actually appear. You may later see them act differently with someone else, seem calmer, more attentive, or even appear better than before. And that contrast can be deeply confusing and painful, because it creates the illusion that you were the problem, or that they finally changed. Today we will talk about why you feel crazy around them, and why that's the point. So, before we start, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. 10. Emotional overload. The first reason you feel crazy around them is emotional overload. This happens when your feelings become too strong for your mind to handle in a normal way. Suddenly, small things start having big effects on you. A simple message can lift your mood instantly. A delayed reply can make you overthink and feel anxious for hours. It's not about being weak or overreacting. It's about your brain getting too much emotional input at once. When someone becomes emotionally important very quickly, your system doesn't have time to adjust, so everything feels louder, stronger, and more intense than it really is. 9. Mixed signals. When someone shows attention in one moment and distance in the next, your mind gets stuck trying to understand what is real. You start analyzing everything they say, even simple words that normally wouldn't matter. You begin searching for meaning in silence, tone, and timing. The problem is, your brain hates uncertainty, so it keeps trying to solve the person like a puzzle. This constant guessing creates confusion, and that confusion slowly turns into emotional stress. The more unclear their behavior is, the more your mind tries to fill in the blanks, even if those answers are not accurate. 8. Overthinking loop. Once confusion enters, overthinking takes control. You replay conversations in your head again and again, trying to catch something you missed. You question your words, their tone, and even your timing. Your mind starts building stories around small moments, trying to explain what might have gone wrong. But instead of getting clarity, you end up creating more doubt. Each thought leads to another question, and before you realize it, you are stuck in a loop that drains your energy and peace. The hardest part is, it feels like thinking more will help, but it only makes things heavier. 7. Emotional attachment too fast. Sometimes the emotional connection grows faster than reality can support. You start thinking about them more often, imagining conversations, future moments, and possibilities that haven't even happened. Your mind builds a version of the connection that feels real to you, even if it hasn't fully developed in real life. So when their actions don't match the picture in your head, it feels like emotional shock. This gap between expectation and reality creates confusion, disappointment, and instability. The stronger the imagination becomes, the harder it is for reality to feel enough. 6. Fear of losing them. Once someone becomes important to you, even in a small way, your mind naturally starts trying to protect that connection. Without you realizing it, a quiet fear begins to form, the fear of losing them. And the strange part is, this fear can appear even when nothing is actually going wrong in the relationship. You may notice yourself starting to overcheck things. Waiting longer for replies starts to feel uncomfortable. A small change in their tone or timing suddenly feels meaningful. You might start texting more, not because there is something to say, but because silence feels uncertain. Your mind begins scanning for signs of distance, even when there are none clearly visible. 5. Validation dependency. At this stage, their attention slowly starts shaping how you feel about yourself without you even realizing it. A simple reply can feel like relief, like everything is okay again. But when they go quiet, it can feel heavy, like something is missing or going wrong. Over time, your emotional state starts to depend on how they respond. Instead of feeling stable within yourself, your balance begins to shift based on their behavior. Your peace becomes linked to their attention. And without noticing it, you enter a quiet dependency where you are constantly waiting for their response, just to feel emotionally okay again. This waiting state is where instability grows. Because your calm is no longer coming from within you, it is being controlled by something outside of you. And the more this pattern continues, the harder it becomes to feel steady on your own. 4. Unhealed past emotions. Sometimes your reaction is not only about what is happening right now, it is also connected to things you have already been through. Old emotional pain, rejection, abandonment, or disappointment can quietly resurface when something or someone triggers a similar feeling. The person in front of you may not be doing anything extreme, but they activate emotions that were already stored inside you. Emotions that were never fully processed or healed. That is why your reaction can feel much stronger than the actual situation. You are not only responding to what is happening in the present, you are also responding to echoes of the past. And when those old emotions get activated, they blend with the current moment, making everything feel heavier, more intense, and harder to understand clearly. 3. Idealization. When you don't fully know someone, your mind naturally starts filling in the gaps without you even realizing it. You take small pieces of information and build a full picture in your head. You imagine their personality, their intentions, and even how things could go in the future. But this picture is not based on reality. It is based on limited moments and assumptions. Slowly, you start seeing their potential more than who they actually are right now. This creates an ideal version of them in your mind. The problem begins when real-life behavior does not match that version. Even small things that don't fit can feel disappointing or confusing because they break the image you carefully built. This gap between imagination and reality creates emotional imbalance, and it can make your feelings feel unstable without any clear reason. 2. Loss of control feeling. One of the most uncomfortable parts of this experience is the feeling that you are not fully in control of your own emotions anymore. You don't decide when thoughts about them appear. You don't choose when your mood suddenly shifts because of something they did or didn't do. It all happens automatically, without permission. This creates frustration because it feels like your emotional state is being controlled by something outside of you. And the more you try to stop thinking about it, the more present it becomes in your mind. That constant struggle between wanting control and losing it is what makes the emotions feel even stronger, heavier, and harder to manage over time. 1. They trigger your deepest emotional patterns. And this is the deepest reason. They are not creating these feelings from nothing. They are activating emotional patterns that already exist inside you. Things like attachment style, fear of abandonment, need for connection, and past emotional experiences all come into play. That is why the intensity feels so real. It is not just about the present person. It is about everything inside you that they are reflecting back. This is also why it feels overwhelming but meaningful at the same time, because in some way, this experience is showing you parts of yourself that were always there, just not fully noticed before. What do you think about our video? Let me know in the comments below. Before you go, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.